Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris and Mark back on a Monday night asking you the same question we ask every Monday night. What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on, Mark. The lads are flying long haul over to Japan where they're going to be eating sushi and their only noodles, Michael, just for a movie reference straight away. The lads are at a pre-season tour. Eddie Howe must be buzzing flying that far across the world. They're knackered. I'm knackered. What's going on with you, mate? Well, you've got on mute. You're on mute. Oh. There you go. You're off mute. You're off mute. Now. That's what's going on with you. You're on mute.
The light was on. I thought it was there. We go. I would feel
never.
Hey dear. No, I feel their pain. I'm knackered too after my last few days of decorating and things. So I'm feeling the pain. But no. Yeah. We talked about this last week, didn't we? Another huge long haul flight to go and play football. It does take it out of you a little bit flying that distance, but you've got a few days, between sort of getting there and the first game, and a few days between that and the second game, so not right up on top of each other. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, we have a few guests who've checked into Evermore Airways tonight. We're going to give them a big shout out, and then a brand new guest as well. Big Al 60 has become a member tonight. Hello, Big Al. Thank you so much for smashing that button, mate. Welcome to the Evermore community. We've got a few usual suspects in the house. Antagonized was in early doors. George is up in Greece. It's past 12 o'clock. He's been on the piss all day and he's hanging on for Evermore. So good to see you, George, as well, mate. You stay awake, mate. We'll see how more drunk George gets as the episode goes on, which will be really interesting. Robert is saying, even from North Carolina, good to see you too, Robert. Thanks for tuning in, mate. Ian is in the house as well. Good to see you, Ian. We've got Marcus as well, has given us all a wave. He's there. Mark Ian UFC is in the house as well. Plenty of familiar faces with us tonight, Mark. So let's get stuck in then. So the lads were in action at the weekend against the Tigers of Hull, and it was a pretty tamed game, really. I think that the Tigers were particularly great. Newcastle took care of business, 2-0 win. Jacob Murphy looking good, mate. Goals from Alexander Isak and Jacob Murphy, contrary to what I thought happened, because I thought Harvey Barnes had got another one. So apologies for my incorrect tweet if anybody saw that. But what did you make of the game of the weekend, mate? Routine for the lads, really, wasn't it?
It was very much a pre-season friendly, wasn't it? I mean, it was lackluster at times for a football match. It was. I mean, you're never going to get that first proper pre-season friendly. It's never going to be, all guns blazing. But they did their job. 2 goals. I thought Murphy down that right hand side was lively. The ball, the little cutback, he sends the Hull defender for a sandwich, doesn't he? And as he plays it in for Isak to get his goal, and then the little ball across the goal, just, it looks for all the world that Harvey Barnes is going to nick that. But yeah, it's just a routine win. I think the biggest thing I took from it was just how confident Lewis Hall looked.
Yeah.
In both positions he sort of played, because he looks like a player that's come out of the end of last season full of confidence. He's carried it through now, and he just looks, to all of. He just looks like he belongs now. He looks like he's not holding somebody else's position. He's not, he's not just coming as a stopgap. He's going to be there for the long term. There were a few wayward passes. There were a couple of things here and there, but he's still learning as he goes. But he just looks a bag full of confidence now.
Absolutely, and quite pertinent you said that, because Ian is saying that how bad was Dan Burns, slower than a turd, flushing at the U-bend. I must admit, on the stream that I was watching, I couldn't quite tell whether the stream was crap or Dan Burn was just running that slow. And I think it was actually the latter, to be fair. But it is preseason. I will give big Dan Burn the benefit of the doubt. Marcus is agreeing with you, Mark. Lewis Hall strides better. And Tamed is just pointing out that some of the so-called Elite Six have been shite pre-season, which is always the case. People do have some really shocking results pre-season. But I must admit, from what I saw of it, Mark, I agree with you on Lewis Hall. A bit of a strange one, starting him in a deep line midfield position. He has played there as a young lad through the academy, but I think you're right. He showed his versatility. I mean, obviously, Hull on a great side. They're all right. You know what I mean? They're not brilliant. But you say there, Mark, you're right. The confidence he has. I mean, I don't think his ability on the ball was ever in question. It was more a case of his self-belief, his positional sense, his nous. We all remember the Dortmund game when he turned his back on the winger and he goes round him. All of that seems to have gone now. And you have to give credit, not just to Lewis Hall for digging in and doing the work, but maybe give credit for Eddie for holding him back as long as he did and making sure that he didn't put him in, prematurely. Now, I'm not saying for 1 second I think he should have stuck with Dan Burn at left back, because fuck me dead. Stevie Wonder could see that was a problem. But I think he did the right thing by holding Hall back. And Hall's even came out and said that, hasn't he, in terms of, his development from last season.
Yeah, absolutely. And many thousands were calling for Lewis Hall well before he got into the side, and maybe I guess at times the manager knows best. Probably true. It is his gig. He is trained. He is is qualified to do it. Most of us aren't, but we give our opinion. But I think the easy thing would have been to throw him in straight away. It may have backfired. He may have regressed. But when he got his chance, he took it, and he's looked really, really good since. He's not the finished article. And he said that. I mean, those mistakes like the Dortmund one, we'll probably see things like that again. But it's how he's learning and how he's progressing from there, and he's taken massive strides forward. As Mark has said before, he really has, and it is really, really good to see for him, and particularly, I guess, for the Newcastle side, because they're still really, really limited in left back options, because outside of Dan Burn, there's still really no sign of Matt Targett. Whatever good is going to happen with him, that's still a position that's up in the air, especially for that sort of backup role there. So to see him grab this chance massively, and as Marty's put in the corner there, future England.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right, and we said this last year, didn't we? When both fullbacks were in it. I think both fullbacks are the future of England. They really are.
I totally agree. We just need Tino to stay fit too. Got a comment there from Mr. Reaction saying, "Love this channel. Thank you very much for that, mate. Really appreciate that. Are you guys on TikTok?" I think we are, Mark. You probably have the TikTok there. And he says he has 10K followers. He doesn't mind sharing our stuff if that's okay. Of course, mate. I'm sure that won't be a problem, will it?
No, you can share whatever you want, mate. That's absolutely fine. We are on TikTok.
Within reason, Mark. Within reason. No ropey pictures or nothing like that.
No, don't share those.
Don't be sharing the dark drive of Evermore with Mr. Reactions, mate. God, we'll be in all sorts of trouble here.
I told you not to bring that up again, Christopher.
Oh, sorry, shit. Delete that. Oh, no, it's live. Fuck, sorry. Oh, God, I've dropped it.
Oh, that's just cancelled. No, we are on there. I was having problems getting actually logged into the account. I must do it again. There is some stuff on there. There's a few of videos. We've got the trust the process videos on there and things like that. So it is something we'll probably look at getting back into doing a little bit more often with some clips and things like that as time goes on. So I'll dig out the I'll dig out the link and I'll drop it in the chat.
Superb. Yes, thank you very much for that, Mr. Reactions. We did see a transfer one thing, and yes, I am worried, and we'll get into the transfers in a little bit. But we're going into the game. I mean, lovely little cheeky finish by Alexander Isak. He's looking hungry. He's looking fit. He's looking dangerous, isn't he? 2-2 for him. Harvey Barnes again looking good. Great run for that second goal. When Murphy obviously puts in the bottom corner, and like you say, if he was a millisecond quicker, he probably would have got. I think he actually said that, Jacob Murphy, because he had a good little giggle about it as well, didn't they? But even young Jamie Miggy looking quite good, quite tidy on the ball as well. I thought he looked all right as well in the game. So positive signs despite the lack of transfer activity, which we'll get onto in a minute.
Yeah, again, you've just hit it there as well. That was another thing. I looked at the Jamie Miley looked really comfortable as well.
Yeah, really good.
I think we have to remember that it was a game against Hull. It was the first pre-season friendly. It's not going to be the first team. It's not going to be that much of a stretch for the side, but he came in and he did a job. The little ball out to Murphy was really, really well weighted. It was, he's done really good. And this is a chance for those young players to really step up before the big guns sort of come back. Obviously, Bruno's back across, and Miggy's with the squad now and things like that. So those young players taking a little bit of an opportunity to grab a place in the squad going forward and stay and train with them, and be on the fringes of the first team is a really good thing.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank God Miggy Almiron's back. Pivotal and key, as I said in my video earlier on today. My God. George said if it's a choice between Almiron and Murphy, though, he takes Murphy 6 ways to Sunday. Could not agree more with you, George. That's no alcohol required for that statement, George. You can say that stone cold sober, mate. I think everyone should really be thinking the same thing. But Miggy's still here for some reason. The manager likes him. We'll see what happens. So that's our TikTok there for you, Mr. Reactions. If you want to take a little note of that, Marcus just banged that in there. So I'll leave it on for half a second for you to take a little note, mate, before we jump.
Well, I was just about to say, give my 2 penneth on the whole Miggy thing, and I do feel it for Miggy a bit because
I don't. He's fucking shit.
Well,
sorry, mate.
Take away the thought of the player and go. It's not his fault. It's his fault. He's probably not as good as he is. That take that aside. But look, he gives his all whenever he's asked to, and you can't ask more than that. It's not his fault that Yankuba Minter was sold. He's not in control of that situation. If the move isn't there for him, that he can't move on.
Fed up, Marcus says, Mark. I guess that's the general consensus, mate. I'm sorry. You're making valid points, but I'm fed up seeing this bloke being shit, mate. I really am.
It is the biggest area of upgrade for the squad right now, is that right-sided forward role. And he's not good enough for the level that Newcastle want to be at all now. He was pivotal in that sort of getting out of trouble and moving up. But there comes a point where you have to move on. And yes, he's been a good member of the squad for that, but it is time to move him on. It is time to replace him in that position and progress there, because he's, as Eddie said, he's key. He might be a key member of the squad, but he's not a key member of the first team anymore. He's just not up to the standard of the other first team starters now. He's levels below them.
Yeah, it's a fair show. I mean, like I say, you don't want to get too personal, because he does seem like a lovely kid, as I said in the video. But it is so frustrating watching the lad just be a waste of a shirt a lot of times, because all of the great attacks break down because he's got such a lack of ability. He runs around and he presses and he tries really hard. But I've used it now just so many times. It's like a dog chasing a tennis ball on the beach. You pretend to throw it and the dog's away, go, where's it? That's like Miggy Almiron as a footballer. It just drives you up the bloody wall. It really does. Robert St. Eddie said something similar about Maxi, though, which is interesting. It's a good shout, Robert. Before we sold him, I'm hoping Howe was just playing the press game. And he wants to keep, because the press clearly wants to keep, obviously, Miggy, Wilson, and Trippier. Maybe he doesn't. Ash is in the comments. Good to see Ash again. He's saying, Mark, it's all his fault. It's his fault that Donald Trump exists. Everything is because of Miggy and Wilson. So there you go. But to be fair, Ash, if Miggy Almiron shot at Donald Trump, it would have missed by way more than that fucking bullet did, to be fair, mate. You set me up, mate. You set me up for that one. I had to do it. I really, really did. But yeah, I mean, it's just, got a comment there from Alex saying that Madueke's on his way. Well, that'd be interesting. Is that breaking news, or is that just speculation, Alex? Let us know, mate. Let us know. We'll come on to that in the comments.
That is one of the rumours that keeps coming back, and I think he'd be a cracking signing. He's got a bit to learn, I guess, as well. But there were times last season where he looked unplayable.
1 yard. I just keep saying it. He missed from 1 yard because he wouldn't use his wrong foot, mate. 1 yard. There's no defending that. Well, obviously there was, because it was defended. But there's no defending that
if he uses his right foot in that game, that's a goal.
Never mind his right foot. If he took his left bollock out and hit the ball with it, it would have rolled over the line. He was fucking atrocious, mate. It was dreadful. TJ still thinks he's worth a chance, but fair play, TJ. Sorry, Mark, what are you saying there?
I was going to say, you take the left bollock out. Is that a reference to the guy in the Paris Olympic Open ceremony?
Oh my days! Don't get me started on that one. We definitely will get cancelled. Fucking hell. There's just certain things you don't take the piss out of. Religion is probably one of them. Olympics, maybe don't do it. Helen is saying Miggy should move on. Sorry, but he's done. Way past his best. Not good enough. Now I agree with you, Helen. I totally do. He has had moments for Newcastle, as you say, Mark. He has had moments. He has had times where his purple patch got us to the Champions League as well. He was a huge contributor in that. But you have to be ruthless as a football club when a player gets to the point where he's kind of past influencing the team and the results. You've got to either drop them or sell them, And if the lads in the squad who aren't starting are better than them, you give them a chance. You give them a chance to come through. Alex is saying that apparently Madueke's agreed personal terms. Is that true, Mark? Is he just winding us up here?
Well, do you know what?
Just breaking down.
One of the things I read earlier on, but I think that's one of the. Let me just have a look because if I can find a little bit.
Alex was one of those terms that he's taken all the penalties. Was that one of the personal terms that he agreed? Could you imagine him and Isaac having a fight over the penalty? Oh my days, absolutely shocking. Oh my god, Ash is trying to beat me in the puns here. You love a pun off Ash. I think that's Miggy's right leg is as much use as Heather Mills' left. Yeah, I think she's a bit better, mate, to be honest with you. She's less one-legged than he is, I think, to be brutally honest with you. Marcus is saying that Murphy's assist to Isaac, Miggy couldn't do it. Yeah, I think maybe three seasons ago he might have been able to do it. But Robert's saying he's seen that story as well, so that must be one. You keep your eye on that in the background, Mark.
There's a few. I mean, if you go back a couple of days, The Athletic reported that Newcastle were considering whether or not to make an approach. Team talk. I don't know how much you want to believe that what comes from there is that Newcastle agreed personal terms with Madueke. But then there's other accounts that suggest that the rumours of agreeing personal terms with Newcastle are totally wide of the mark. So, I mean, just, stick your finger in the air. I don't know which one do you believe?
Which finger? Which finger or which? Steady. Mark is saying no time for sentiments, time to leave at the door. Absolutely, but yeah, I mean the game itself, like you say, fairly routine. But 2 wins in 2 games is steady. Even though the transfer window is quiet, we'll get onto the transfer window in a minute. Salah Cup is coming up. Ticket sales are pretty shit, which we'll get into probably more in the transfer talk. But the lads aren't doing a Salah Cup right now. They are over in Japan. Big in Japan is next category there, Mark. So the lads have flown over. We've got some lovely pictures of them on the plane here, and one picture that maybe needs a little bit of an explanation from a certain goalkeeper, which we'll get into in a minute. But if you want to run through the pictures of the lads, mate, so obviously it's a long haul flight. This is the one. So you can see there, you've got Joe Willock, and that's Lloyd Kelly. Looking a little bit like some kind of a lawyer with them specs on, Lloyd Kelly, looking very smart. But what in the holy name of fuck is Nick Pope doing in the background there? Has he spotted an air hostess that he likes? Now, hopefully Mrs. Pope isn't going to watch this and get on the text message and start giving him shit. But he's either completely bollock naked and didn't realise he was in the picture and he's just rocking out with his cock out behind the lads, or he's just changing his top, mate. I don't know what's your thoughts on that, Mark?
It's use the word interesting photograph. It is. Yeah. He's certainly made himself comfortable back there, hasn't he? He's definitely he's definitely loose. I don't know. That's probably the wrong choice of words at that point. He's to be honest, who is it that tweeted earlier on that said it looked like a Manx Pie edit? It does. It really does.
It really does.
It's very good. Very funny.
You just said that he's loose. So all I can imagine now is that he's saying to the lads, you're on an aeroplane, I'm on a helicopter, and he's just whipping it around. And he's hit Lloyd Kelly in the back of the head. He says, hey, talk about long haul flights, eh, Lloyd? Poor Lloyd Kelly's going, can I move seats? Can I move seats, please?
What have we descended into tonight already? Christ.
Oh my days. Air hostess on her knees says, is that smidgenisms? Yeah. I did think about air hostess and the busted song was going around in my head. I think I made a joke with two polls on Twitter about that. But yeah, honestly, mental stuff. I see there's Marcus being sensible. He's pulling it back to the land of logic. He's saying maybe Pope has some therapy stuff on his shoulder. Poor Angle. I prefer the Dick Longhall explanation, in my opinion, Marcus. Let's have some fun with it. Come on, let's have fun.
Can I just point out that the Big in Japan reference wasn't any reference to Nick Pope?
Fucking hell. Yeah. He's saying, have a look at this number one. He's pulling that right out and showing the lads. My days, my days. But yeah, so the lads are obviously flying long haul over to Japan, and we are playing a couple of games. They're not just playing with their dicks in the back there. As you can see, yeah, that was a great one. So you had Miggy and Miggy Joe Linton, Joe Willock in the background there, looking like he's been caught doing something as well, to be fair. Then what the fuck's going on this flight? And obviously that's Bruno Guimaraes on the phone. It was a beautiful picture going around, wasn't there? Or video around with Bruno meeting the lads. You know, him and Joe Linton having a big cuddle, like a Brazilian embrace. Man, that was nice to see, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The video of it's funny because I watched that YouTube video on the Newcastle page, and it's 7 or 8 minute video, and there's practically nobody talks. It's just footage of getting on a plane, getting off a plane, being on a bus, walking into a restaurant, giving each other, and he's watching the numbers of the viewers tick up and up and up and up. And there's virtually no content in it other than just people moving around. It just made me laugh. But yeah, I think Bruno being there and sort of interacting with the squad, I thought his hug of Harvey Bonds was quite an embrace. Quite an embrace, that one as well. So, but yeah, I think he's
absolutely. Well, to be fair, I mean, if you get paid on assists and you see Harvey Barnes bagging in goals, no wonder he's probably giving him a cuddle. He's probably thinking that's a few extra grand in my pocket next season. But I'll tell you the best bit of content I've seen so far about this Japanese trip is nothing to do with the football club. It's actually the fans going over there. So I think I've got to give them a shout out on X. I think it's a black and white banter. So them lads have gone over to Japan and they checked into a hotel. I'm sure you've seen this on X, everybody. If you haven't, this is unbelievable, right? Go check them out. I think it's black and white banter, Mark, isn't it? I think. And they've checked into this hotel, which is like a self-service thing. Anyone who's got like maybe a Premier Inn over here, you have the self-service thing, right? So these lads have walked in, and I shit you not, Mark's maybe beavering away to find it in the background here. I can hear the clicks. These guys have checked into a hotel, and behind the self-service till, there's 2 fucking dinosaurs. I'm not joking you. 2 dinosaurs. And these lads are checking in to a fucking Velociraptor with the Jurassic Park themes playing in the background. And they said this is the weirdest shit they've ever seen in their lives. And yeah, I mean, Japan is a crazy place, Mark, but oh my days, dinosaurs checking in.
Yeah, I mean that got me. That properly baffled me. I'm just pulling up the picture now because it's.
Go on, pull it up for anybody. We'll tell the people listening on audios. Yeah, what the hell is that?
Yeah, no, I mean, nowhere else in the world do you get that. Nowhere else in the world are you gonna find things like that. And
Ian's got a comment of the night there. Steve Bruce and Steve McLaren are the 2 dinosaurs. Superb, mate. Well done. Well said. But yeah, insert John Pickford jokes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he couldn't get the room keys. Ash, his hands were too small. He couldn't reach the top shelf for the lads' room keys, I think. But yeah, that is some bizarre shit right there. To be fair, but I mean, the fans will follow them, as they do home and away, and they'll have a massive fun. They had 4,500, down Hull, and they'll have loads of them over in Japan. And we are playing a couple of games for anyone who didn't realise that. So we are playing against. I guess is in a Wednesday, isn't it? Against is it Urawa Reds? Mark is the first team we're playing.
Red Diamonds.
Yeah, Red Diamonds, and then on Saturday we are playing against Yokohama FM, mate. Yeah, smashing nicely, mate. Yeah, top tunes, mate. Yeah, we're playing against a fucking radio station at the weekend, so God knows who's going to play and God knows how we're going to play, mate. But the squad came out. Sandro Tonali's in the squad, so that's interesting because he hasn't played yet in the 2 preseason games. He is able to play in those games, isn't he? Because there was an issue with the German game, wasn't it? I think.
Yes. So I mean, just interesting to see him back again properly in the side and getting some minutes if he's if he's going to play, that's absolutely ideal, especially because it's not long before he's back. We about a month away now until he's back in there.
Yeah, I think it is a month. Exactly a month, possibly. Yeah.
So just great to see him back on the field again. It's he's had he's had a tough punishment, but he brought it on himself. So I'm not going to give the lad too much credit for it. But when you've made that move to a new country and you then have to sit out and play, and it can't be easy. But he's had plenty of time to integrate, so it should be interesting to see what if he hits the ground running. So that'd be really good if he can play.
Well, Ash is saying, can he play? The games have been shown live, so he shouldn't be able to. But they're not competitive games. I think he is allowed to play in a pre-season game. I think that was the rule, wasn't it, Mark? I think he's allowed to play. He's in the squad, so I would have put him in the squad if he's not going to play.
No, he can't.
He can't play. No,
he is one of the players who's gone to Japan, but he can't play. No, I missed that one as well. So that is a shame, actually. So no,
is he allowed to play? Is he allowed to play against Girona? And
he won't be.
And Brest, no, he's not allowed to play against any of them at all. Then, oh my days.
I think it's just a case of getting him in training with and like match day training with the squad now as well. Be able to do all of that. So it's that is a shame, actually. But I guess it's part of his ban. So
his punishment. As Ash says, they're only behind closed doors, which I think he did play in that Burnley game and scored one and got 2 assists, is what the rumours were, wasn't it? In all fairness, but hopefully he's keeping himself nice and sharp, and then he can come back soon enough. But yeah, it's a funny one, Mark. I mean, I suppose it's a good segue into the next one, the next category we're going to talk about in a second. But it does seem a bit, despite the 2 wins and some promising performances from youngsters like Lewis Hall and Jamie Miley and Isak scoring, it does seem a little bit flat because there's been very little in the way of transfer activity. Moving on to, I suppose, the next section right there, transfer talk. So there is some rumours doing the rounds, but it's been kind of poo-pooed by his agent. There might be some movement with Malik Chow. I know Graham Bailey's determined that he's coming to Newcastle now. AC Milan have signed this other lad that were going to sign to replace him, but then Malik Chow's agents come out and said that it's bollocks. I mean, is that the agent just trying to play it down, or do you think Newcastle aren't close? Because according to Eddie Howe, are not close, but we all know Eddie loves a little cheeky lie now and again. So what do you think, Mark, in terms of the transfers here? Because I think the club, the fan base, could do with a couple of good signings just to boost it up, because the Cellar Cup, as I said, the ticket sales are pretty low. And I just think that a lot of the fans, I wouldn't say they're pissed off, but I just think they're a bit underwhelmed is probably the right word.
Yeah, there is a lack of movement or a lack of completion, I guess, with it. And the longer it goes on, I think there's a little bit of discontent with it all. And obviously after the PSR issues and losing Anderson and Minter, it does leave a little bit of a bitter taste in the mouth from that, doesn't it, Faith? So when I still think there will be signings. I still think there will be a couple that come in. I know others have said similar.
So to answer that question there from Clothes, he's typed that in, or she's typed that in?
I mean, yes, there's a chance. I don't think it will happen. I think Newcastle will sign a couple. I think they have to. Because of the injuries that are still within the squad. You can't go into the start of the season with Fabian Schär and Dan Burn as centre-back with Kraft backing up and Botman and Lascelles still both injured. There absolutely has to be another centre back that's really brought in, and if it is Malik Chow that comes in, I think you're right. I think that's maybe a little bit of agent talk to kind of, does it drum up the price? Does it put Newcastle a little bit, have to move a little bit more quickly to get it done? But I can understand why everybody's frustrated with it, because there are other clubs that have moved that even you look at Everton have got nothing at all. That they don't even have proper owners at the moment. It's all falling apart, and yet they're still going out and they're signing this kid from Lyon, aren't they? So
yeah,
that I guess that's a frustration to see others moving. There was always the worry that the likes of Liverpool that have been really quiet. Arsenal have been quiet in the transfer market, apart from Calafiore, which seems to be done now. And then they would start to move, and some of the targets that Newcastle would perhaps be looking at would then move elsewhere because Newcastle hadn't moved quick enough or couldn't move quick enough. So it is a worry from that perspective, but I do think they'll get a couple. The young lad from Sheffield United, I know you were slightly underwhelmed by that one, but I think that's more of one for, again, it's one to come in and be the choice, which we talked about is a real need. Come in and sit behind.
I think, sorry, I think with that one, I think Wilson was maybe on the cards to go, and then this injury has probably scared any real suitors off. Yeah. So I think we'll end up with Wilson for the rest of the season, and I think that changes the plan for the striker position, where you're right, maybe a young striker like the Sheffield United striker comes in just to be an extra body in case Wilson breaks down. When Wilson breaks down again and he can't play. For me, I think there's a player who can answer your two positions in one hit, and that's Mbeumo from Brentford, because he can play right wing. He's already scored a couple of bangers pre-season. He can play up front as well. And I think that would be a really shrewd, smart signing by the football club. I mean, go to the signings bit as well. I don't think they've put this hierarchy in place, people like Mitchell in position, without the ability to bring in at least one or two marquee signings this summer window. I think there is going to be at least two marquee signings. We've already seen some squad building, with the likes of Lloyd Kelly and Vlachodimos. I think people have mentioned him there. Of course, he's a £25 million goalkeeper. That's what I think about him. Fuck you, Premier League. But I think, there's been some squad building, obviously Ruddy and people like that. I think there will be movement with the keepers. I think Dubravka is almost a cert to go. I think Craig Hope is still saying we're interested in Trafford. My take on that. Not interested at all in Trafford, to be honest with you. I know some people think he'll be a really good goalkeeper. I don't think he will. I think he'll disappear off the radar. I think he'll be another Chris Kirkland or something like that, and he'll disappear through the leagues. And I don't think he'll fulfill anywhere near the potential people think he was. Another Freddie Woodman, so to speak. That's exactly what I think can happen to that kid. One good tournament within the 21s doesn't make you a great goalkeeper. But that's another podcast episode for another day. I think we've already done that, but I'll do it again. Fuck it. But going into the signings themselves, centre-back is key. Right wing is massively key. And then another striker. But if Wilson's going to stay, you're right, Mark, it's probably a young striker who doesn't mind being third fiddle to those two. But that right wing position, I think that's the marquee area. And I think the kind of players we need to be looking at are game changers, match winners, quality proven players. We've seen, Neto, that's gone quiet, but everyone's gone quiet on Neto. So maybe there's something there. And Mbeumo is a name that it's probably been more generated by the fans, I think, than anything else. But you've got Chiesa's been thrown in the mix as well, who can play right wing, Football Manager nerds who can play right wing. There's lots of other names being thrown in there, and I mean, there is one player who's been mentioned from Aston Villa, who I will come on to an Out of Toon that I want nowhere near this fucking football club. But in generally, Mark, in terms of the key areas, I mean, it's got to be the right wing is the big one, isn't it? I know the right centre half is one that everyone's talking about for the long-term replacement to share. But it has to be right wing, isn't it? Because that's where we're weakest.
Yeah, I've lose my words, but yeah, absolutely. And I know Kears has been linked, and he can play there. I've seen it in the last 2 days. Is it Nico Gonzalez at Fiorentina's been linked?
Yes, he's been linked.
Plays on the right hand side, but can play across the other positions too. He got 12 goals in Serie A last season for Fiorentina. He's another player from wide that will score you goals. Not as many assists over the last couple of seasons, but definitely an upgrade on Miggy. He's 26, so there's plenty of time left in him as well. So, and I guess the other way to look at it is players like that come in and they're sellable later on. You're not going for a player that's 30 plus that you're going to have no sell-on value afterwards. The way that this project will continue is by taking those players in, probably in sort of early to mid 20s, and then use them, move further up the food chain, and then move them on to others, and buying bigger fish once you can. But I agree entirely that right wing has to be a position of priority. I also think that other centre back is absolutely. I think you can probably just about manage everywhere else, but those two have to be done. And then if it is a case of the kid from Sheffield United coming in as a third choice striker, that's not a bad move. I think he is promising. He's not played an awful lot. I think he did he play about 12 games last season in terms of 90 minutes. He hasn't scored a goal. No goals and no assists in that time. So that's not entirely promising, but it was for Sheffield United, who were shit. I mean, they were shit, really shit. Like almost Derby County level shit in the Premier League last season. So
he was on worse, didn't they get worse point return than Derby County in the Premier League?
He was on an absolute hiding to nothing playing up front for them. He really was. But yeah, I think that's definitely one to. If he comes in and is the backup to Isak and Wilson, then that's something we sort of looked at and called for. Is the fact that there has to be somebody that sits behind that, because if Wilson goes down again, or when Wilson goes down again, it just leaves Isak, and Isak needs cover. Isak can't play 90 minutes every single week. He's going to need a break. He absolutely will need rest in cup games and the odd 20, 30 minutes here and there. So the young lad coming in would be a decent option, but I do think those two places have to be a priority. Those two positions have to be a priority.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with Darren there. We need some winners and have that mentality. We should have had that last season. And massive shout from Ash there. You saw for Makoko as well from Dortmund. His agent's already been saying that he's got no future there, and they're going to look to England. He would be a brilliant addition to the club. He's got Champions League experience. Top experience at Dortmund in the Bundesliga. I think he'd be a great signing, skillful. Got a trick. Knows where the goal is as well, young enough to improve, and and a manager like Eddie can get the best out of him. So yeah, it's a great shot, Ash, and I think that's the kind of player we need to look at.
Yeah, it seems very typically Newcastle though, because he suffers with a lot of muscular injuries.
True, but if we've got James Bunce though, if we've got James Bunce that manages kind of his fitness and athleticism, maybe we can keep him fitter for longer. I don't think James Bunce can sort out Callum Wilson. I don't think Jesus Christ could fix Callum Wilson if he poured a glass of fucking holy juice all over him and put his healing hands on his handsome back. I don't think he could sort Callum Wilson out.
I tell you what, if you can get Callum Wilson fit for an entire season, he wants knighted, because nobody else has managed to do that for about 8 or 9 years. So
I don't think Wilson would be fit if they replaced his bones with adamantium. I don't think he'd be fucking fit then. He'd probably still hurt himself. He'd be fucked. I don't know what it is. Great shout, man, in there. Guile is what's needed. The owners are not fools. I believe they're in really misdirection of play, and hell, hope is a burden, right? Yeah, absolutely. They must have a plan in the background. I think they are stepping up their influence on the club, and they want to be number one, and they're going to get there hopefully by making big decisions, maybe being a bit ruthless. But there's more talk about players leaving.
Can I just quickly on that subject of Guile is needed? What position does he play? He's a fighter. No,
wasn't he the guy out of Street Fighter? He used to throw the Street Fighter. That was Guile. That was Guile. Yeah. Where's Ash in the comments? He'll love a bit of that, bit of Street Fighter too. But yeah, going back to the transfers, there seems to be more talk about people leaving and coming in. Maybe we have to do that in terms of this lovely world of PSR and FFP we live in. Obviously Miggy's been linked, even though Howe seems to want him to stay because he's great at making a cup of tea or something, or other. God knows what the fuck else he's good at. Obviously Wilson, nobody wants him because he's knackered. And Trippier seems to be the one that a lot of the noise is about. And Eddie hasn't come out in defence of how pivotal and key Trippier is, even though he is pivotal and key compared to Miggy, because he had more assists in about 5 minutes than Miggy had in a season and a half. But Trippier posted this on his Instagram. He was over in Dubai. People spotted him at Newcastle airport. I'm pretty sure he was getting a Greg's as well, which makes me love Kieran Trippier even more. If he was smashing the bacon roll and coffee down in the morning, I hope it was bacon sausage with red sauce. I hope it was Kieran Trippier. You tell he's on pre-season. But he was going over to Dubai, then he decided to post this up, Mark, which was a good meeting. Tom Spring, which I think is the talent spotter for, I can never say it properly, the one Steven Gerrard's at.
Al Ettifaq.
There you go. Because I would have said El Fakataki Taka. That's all I would have said. So I'm glad you said it. Man. I'm glad you said it. But yeah, so that was was that a little bit naughty, or was that just an innocent guy meeting his mate and we're just blown out of proportion?
There's a bit of me thinks that there was a little bit of mischief in that. He is, by all accounts, he is a mate. So going to see him, or that they know each other well. I think that was, doesn't it?
That's a good one.
He play in Scotland, but yeah, it's. I think there's a little bit of mischief in that because I do think there's part of it. I think Trippier might want to go. I think he sees his
money. Very much, one season there, finishes career, more money he's ever seen in the Premier League.
I think whatever personal things are going on, maybe he wants to get away from all of that. I think that certainly the money side of things is one thing, but I think he probably looks at Newcastle now and is really a case of he's second fiddle.
He's got to be behind Tino now, mate. He has to be. I
think so. Yeah, I think Livermore has to start now in that position. I think he's shown he's worthy of it, and I wonder whether Trippier does just see this as the right time to move on from this. And look, he's been an exceptional part of this process so far. I still suggest that he's probably Newcastle's most important signing.
Probably is
that I've certainly lived through, purely and simply because he was the start of the process. I think I said this last week. He's kind of the genesis point. He was the first one through the door. He was the one that brought in others. He's the one that was there to kind of coach on the field, and then when he was injured, to coach from the sidelines as well. He's a huge part of.
He was the Iron Man of the Newcastle side, and
he's such a huge part of the turnaround of the club since Howe came in.
Yeah,
you know, and he will always be. You know, he's going to not a legend, but he'll go down with that sort of mantle for him.
Oh, he's got that status. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, completely. Just because of the impact he's had on the club as a whole, and for whoever put out the tweet about Edison never having conceded a direct free
kick. That was funny.
Yes, everybody. Well done for constantly picking up and saying yes. Trippier did.
Ian thinks you've got to pull it back at me. He thinks you're hosting a Kieran Trippier telethon here. He said he hasn't popped his clogs back. You love an affectionate ramble, Mark, don't you? About these.
I do. I do have my moments in that. But look, you don't owe him anything. But he's done. He was the point in which I think that the club started to turn around. He was, like I say, he was the first part of that jigsaw after Howe coming in. And I think, he probably looks at it now and thinks it's time to go and have a payday at the end of my career and go and earn whatever he can earn wherever he gets. I mean, if he gets £300,000 or £400,000 a week playing in Saudi for a year, it's huge to set him up for later on.
Might help him pay for those solicitors. So Marcus is saying that I love you, Mark, and thank you for everything you do. Maybe we can have like Mark's musings. We can have the Titanic theme tune in the background. But YouTube would probably get us for that, wouldn't it? They would probably have
copyright strikes.
Shut a video down straight away, because we were talking about that boat and some. But yeah. So it is very quiet at the Western Front, but I do think a couple of signings are definitely needed to boost the morale, as a few guys have already said, and it is a little bit flat, isn't it? But moving on to the next section, the last section of the night, which is the one we do Out of Toon, which isn't always Newcastle United related. We have got a couple of different things in there to talk about tonight. I'm going to start, Mark, just about it is kind of Newcastle related because it's a player that we've been linked with. We mentioned him before, and it's this lad. Here, so is it John Duran, isn't it? The place for I nearly called him Duran there, fucking reflex. So this is John Duran, who plays for Aston Villa, and some of you might think who, he's kind of come on for Villa a few times. He's all right. He showed flashes. He looks decent. he's not as good as he thinks he is. As Mark said before we came on, that he thinks he's good enough to start ahead of Ollie Watkins, which he's clearly not. But he's been linked to a lot of clubs, Newcastle being one of them. Now, I don't know if that's just agent talk, but he has been linked numerous times to West Ham. Now, this shithouse did an Instagram live thing, and I think somebody had put irons in the comment there, as you can see. He decided to do the irons kind of pose with his hands, being mischievous to the person doing it. Now, I've got zero time for this bollocks, Mark. Zero time for it. I mean, especially when you've not even done anything. You haven't even, arrived yet in the game, really. I don't know who the fuck this kid thinks he is. He makes me arc back for players like Roy Keane just to go through the fucking knee height and have him eating grass and picking out of his teeth for the next 2 weeks. Because the kid has done nothing. I mean, if he was my teammate in training asking that, I would go right through the back of the prick in training the next day. And I'd say to the gaffer, I'm going to do it as well, because he deserves it. It's so disrespectful to Aston Villa. And, as PK said, friend of the channel, the no dickhead policy that we have, this kid fails it massively for me, mate.
Alarm bells ring from there straight away. Look,
massive.
Not to play a couple of the cards, but he's been a bit, bad boy, and he's pretty much come and done with this, just to go with the Duran links in there for some titles. So I'll keep that going. I mean, there's shades of Ivan Toney with this as well. If you remember Ivan Toney when he was slagging off Brentford while still a player as well. He's you said it. He's done absolutely nothing in the game yet. He doesn't warrant his hype, and if he's acting like that now, you want him nowhere near your club. That's toxic straight away, and that he may go on to be an absolutely brilliant player later on, but his play so far doesn't warrant the arrogance that he has. And I know as a striker, you've got to have that level of arrogance, but that is, while you're still at a club and doing things like that's not right at all.
No. Well, there's a couple of guys are saying that's what they worry about with Madueke as well. I think I said that on the rumours. TJ in the comments said that Duran looks like Will Smith. I would say more the fresh prick of Bell End is what I would probably call him, TJ, to be honest with you, because that's what he looks like to me. So he's not a player I'd want in the football club at all. Robert's saying, but we did say that about Gordon. Yeah, we did, to be fair. But I don't think Gordon ever did anything like that. I think that's a step too far for me. Disrespecting your current club and your teammates like that. I just don't think that's the way to do it. But Duran isn't the only person who's causing controversy in the pre-season. I mean, this fucker was in the pub at least, obviously, or wherever it was, in some kind of Caribbean tiki hut cocktail place or something by the looks of it. But some people are causing controversy on the pitch, and to be fair, they're no strangers to controversy. So you might have seen this. Now, this was former Sunderland great, cough, cough, James McLean, playing for Wrexham these days. That's right. He's playing for Hollywood FC. More on them in a minute. But he was playing a pre-season friendly against Chelsea, and he decided to leave a foot in, and I mean leave a foot in, on is it Levi Colwell, who took exception to this. And they had a proper big square up in a pre-season game. I mean, what the fucking hell was all that about, Mark? It's really excessive, wasn't it?
How do temperatures boil over that quickly in a pre-season?
In pre-season, there's got to be needle there from before. There's got to be something going on there. Do that in pre-season.
It's that kind of irritating fuck, isn't
he? He is. He's a dick, and he
really just gets under your skin. And I think there's a frustration there. If players are going to leave their footing in a pre-season friendly, I think that goes against it because there's just no need for it. But there's been a few incidents. Was it Bolton playing Fiorentina it was a cracking challenge.
That would be right through.
Absolutely flying. He takes the ball cleanly. Fiorentina were furious with him. It was a brilliant challenge. Maybe he's not one again for a pre-season friendly. Those are ones you save for the league. I guess working on your timing and the tackle. Christ Almighty, we're 2 weeks away from 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks away from the start of the season now. You've got to make sure you're fit to start the season. But Christ, the fights and the other one as well is 3 minutes. Was it 30 minutes in?
It was about 23 minutes in or something. The clock says they had this big fracas, didn't they?
and Malumbi goes to headbutt the Mallorca player. Whatever's gone on before, he sort of leans his head in. The Mallorca player swings for Malumbi, who then gets it, just swings again. They break into a fight and end up on the floor, surrounded by everybody else. What the fucking hell's going on? It just, honestly, there's definitely something in the water with these friendlies, because there's just all manner of chaos going on with them.
No, absolutely. I mean, anyone would think they were trying to be villains in some kind of Marvel movie. And lovely little segue into the next section there I'm talking about. So speaking of Marvel movies, this is been doing the rounds. Now, I'm going to be a right grumpy prick about this, because the whole Wrexham loving, before you get the Titanic music playing up for Mark, tell you how much he loves Wrexham. I've never watched the show. I couldn't give a fuck. I've got to the point where it really just kind of irks me a little bit, gives me the ick, to quote the Love Island show, which I also think is wank. But so Wrexham striker Paul Mullen apparently has had a cameo in the new Deadpool movie, which I probably will watch. But for me, this is just, I just want to spew on me table here. Like, I mean, stick to playing football, mate. I know you own a football club, Ryan Reynolds, but honestly, stick one of them swords up your arse. What a load of fucking bollocks that is, man. Honestly, I just don't. What's the point? What's the point? Honestly, fucking stupid.
The point is, you can, you miserable old git.
Yeah, it's fucking shit, man. Isn't it? Who gives? Who even like who's watching that movie even knows who the fuck he is? He could just be an extra. I don't even knew who he fucking was, really, apart from seeing the story. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly, Michael. Cringe as fuck. Absolutely. Ash says I'm miserable. I am miserable. The whole Wrexham thing. The problem is when somebody keeps telling you how good something is, to the point where you just go, all right, man, fuck off. That's how I feel about the Wrexham thing. And just not for me. Can't be arsed with it. It's in the bin.
There we go. We differ on that, because I quite enjoy the story, but there are levels to that as well. And it is a little cringy. But at the same time, if you can, you do it. Again, you've got to have a bit of fun, haven't you? Life's too short to always be miserable, Christopher.
Nah, come on. Bloody hell. What you been drinking tonight? What's in that fucking tranquilizers or morphine in that cup there? Yeah. You've been getting that prescribed by somebody. But listen, I want something a little bit more out of my story, right? I want a redemption arc. I want a hero story. I want somebody who's been written off time and time again and proves that he's good enough, that he's great enough, that he's brilliant to take a task on again. Somebody who's honest, somebody who's a good family man. I want Steve Bruce back in management. That's where I'm going with this, Mark, as you saw. So apparently, Steve Bruce could be set for return to management, if you can believe it, as the boss of Jamaica, Jamaican bacon, as we were saying earlier on, mate. So it looks like he could be in with a shout for this job with Jamaica. I mean, fucking, may the Lord watch over you, Jamaica. Fuck me sideways. But you had a great saying you wanted to get in for this one, Mark. So I won't steal your thunder. What was your line again from that famous movie?
Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. Get on up with bacon time. There we go. I love
it's
that.
Bacon time. You nearly fell over. You nearly fell over. Exactly. As Ian says there, well, Levi Roots. I love your sauce, reggae sauce. But we have got a belt of picture as well, which I think we have to give Ash credit for this one, do we not? In the comments, who's in tonight.
I did leave his name in there, because to give him credit for that picture. I don't know there was that Ash, but I did take the image from your site, so we'll give you a little shout out for that at NUFC.
We certainly will. I mean, could you imagine how permanent red Steve Bruce is going to look living in Jamaica, managing a Jamaican team? Remember when pictures when he went on holiday like Marbella, and he just looked like just a slice of red meat, just pure like gammon, just on the beach with his massive kite hanging out, and you could see his watch line and his like medallion line, and he was just red everywhere else. When he's in big trouble over there.
He's going to look like crispy bacon himself. He's going to have to be careful he doesn't start chewing on his own arm.
Especially if it tastes like bacon, mate. Especially if it tastes like bacon. Marcus is enjoying the Bruce banter, yeah. But my God, if he comes back into management, just like I say, I do pray. I do pray for Jamaica. I don't know where they are in the world rankings, but you're about to slip, guys. You're about to slip right down the list. I guarantee. What would they throw in Jamaica? They wouldn't throw, cabbage, would they? Would they throw like melon? Because that's going to fucking hurt if it hits Steve Bruce, because that's hard. Melons are hard, man.
What are they known for? I guess, I mean, Caribbean island coconuts?
Weed.
Good. No, it's one of them I was eat.
Which just flick splits in his head. Imagine Steve Bruce stoned out of his gourd like, well, I'm absolutely caked. Has anybody seen the
You'd actually have to go and watch his games stoned, wouldn't you? I mean, you couldn't not, because, I mean, they'd just be dreadful. And then he's got, if he is going to be manager there, he's got some good players in that squad that, exciting players, the likes of Bailey and that there's the potential there. But Christ almighty, can you imagine them with Bruce Ball? I mean, just no, honestly.
They wouldn't know what to do with it. Because she's saying that mangoes, I think is what they're having. Then Marcus says coconuts. I mean, either one of them could smash him right in the head. Not that condone violence, but I give Jamaica about 3 games, and then he's in some serious trouble. David's saying Jamaica, surprised he hasn't got a job in the Prem. Talk shite and all the mainstream media told he's an unbelievable manager. I'm actually surprised. I'm surprised that he hasn't got a job at Talk Sport. There's a chair waiting for him in that conveyor belt of just utter twats that Talk Sport normally hire. Willie Armour saying, Man United 100k stadium, for fuck's sake. We're going to cover this, I think, on one of the rants, because if you remember, my mate Sir Jim Twatcliffe saying he wanted the taxpayer to fork out money for this. Now, this is not a political channel, but we all know that there's been statements today saying that there ain't going to be any funding for a lot of stuff. So I don't think old Sir Jim Twatcliffe's getting the government to pay for that. So if this little shithouse won't even pay to release Stan Ashworth from his contract, he's trying to lowball Everton for Branthwaite. I don't think he's going to get 100k seat at the stadium anytime soon, mate, to be brutally honest with you. But keep an eye on that one. We will definitely cover that.
Yeah, definitely. I think there are. I mean, the uproar when, and again, not to get political, but when things are being curbed and services are cut back and road and rail and things like that, does he expect suddenly the government to plough 2, 3, 4, 500 million pounds into a stadium or the surrounding area? I'm not entirely sure that would get the go ahead that he wants. So there was stuff about the fact that is it the SoFi Stadium in America that he was quite
the Chicago one. Yeah.
But funnily enough, I think is it Kroenke that built the stadium. It's in LA, isn't it? And I think he paid for that entire. It cost $5 billion supposedly that package, and had no input, which is rare for America, because the Americans like to get their the state or the city to pay towards the building of the stadium, which is why some of the American franchises move states, because they get funding from the council and the government and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see what he does with that. But he can fuck off. He's not having any fucking money to build 100,000 feet.
Pretty much, I'm not sure whether because obviously he doesn't live in Manchester, he lives in Monaco because he doesn't pay enough tax. So he won't understand how deprived that area is there. But he will want people to do it because he's a twat and he has a sinister beard. That's basically what I'm going to say about him. So Ian saying the third cat. Yes, we saw the rumours of the third cat on Friday. Looks really, really nice. Really, really nice. Yeah, Cushy's liking the new turn. Dark Mark. Yeah, and Marcus was loving you tonight, mate. He's got the Titanic soundtrack playing, I think, in the house there, listening to you talk, mate. But we'll finish off with a great comment there from Ben, best NUFC channel on YouTube. But thank you so kindly,
thank you,
Ben. We really appreciate that, mate. And if you like this kind of a thing, smash like, subscribe. You set me up, Ben. Love a segue. Smash like, subscribe. Help get us to that next milestone, 8.5k. We did miss the window of the 8k prize. I might very well have a nice big prize I was supposed to have earlier. It was delayed. Coming very soon, so we might use that for the next milestone. So stay tuned for that, guys. But yeah, if you can like and subscribe, it really helps the algorithms on the old channel, helps the channel grow. We'll be back with some more Rumour Has It videos soon enough. I'm sure something else will piss me off in the next few days for a rant. So stay tuned to the channel, guys. Thank you very much for watching tonight. Have a lovely evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.
See you guys. Take care.